It's 4:30. So I'm gonna get going.
I have to let everybody in and then start the recording and then we can go.
Okay, let me know when you're ready.
Remind everybody about the exits.
Yep. Got a new slant to this safety stuff with the Zoom. Jeff, you all set?
Yeah, I'm all set.
Okay. I want to welcome everybody to the Architecture Review Board for September 22nd, 2020. And a safety reminder, since we're on Zoom, if you get up and walk, and then a few meetings where people have fallen. Beware of our surroundings. First order of business, if I can have the approval of the August 25th, 2020 meetings, meeting minutes. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, can I have a second?
A second.
And Andrew unmute his phone and join us?
Yep, 1 second.
Okay. Andrew in?
Hold on.
Brethren.
There we go. Hey, are you
All
there?
right. Hi, Andrew. Yep. So, Andrew, we just approved the minutes. Do you have anything to add or
No,
claim
I
on
do
them?
not. I'm good.
Okay,
I'm
Jeff.
good, thank you.
Jeff, please note that the minutes are approved from August meeting.
Okay.
Our first on our first agenda is old business 8AR-3-20, 226 Norman Road. Jarrett and Julie Ann Bromberg, additions to a house including garage and upstairs bed and bath. Are they here?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, Mary.
Hi. Jarrett here.
Hi, Jarrett. You want to get started?
Sure. So we were told we needed to resend our plans in. The board last month wanted us to add windows on the siding of the house, on the side of the house facing the neighbors, which we have done. There's now two windows in the I guess the garage portion.
Yeah, the side
and there's a
elevation.
window up in the mid. Huh? I'm sorry. There we go. And there should be a window on the second floor in the middle, which is probably by the bathroom. We did, once again, as the board had mentioned, get reassurances that I think the board had a question as to the garage door and the siding, which we've gotten more assurances that, of course, the contractor will match the existing materials, and also the roof line to the addition of the roof line of the addition to the existing roof line. Again, assurances from the contractor that that's going to be as even as possible, but really hard to I guess put in drawing.
Okay. Anyone have any comments or concerns? I assume you're through with your presentation, Jarrett.
Yeah, I think that's that I hope that answers all the questions that the board had last month.
And just to confirm, I believe you also reduced the width of the new garage door to match the existing. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you decided you didn't take into consideration the possibility of putting windows on the garage doors.
The windows on the bottom on the side are two windows in the windows in the garage doors. No, we leave the garage door existing and match the new one to the existing windows, and we put windows off to the side on the side of the house.
I understand that. You just decided not to take the suggestion of putting windows in the garage door. That's just asking.
Yes.
And you answered it. Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure.
Anybody else? Casey?
Nope, nothing at this time.
Brian?
Nope, I'm good.
Mary's asked. Fran?
No, I'm good.
Andrew?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Jarrett, you can call Jeff's office in the morning and get our answer. And I
Okay.
appreciate you representing, and thank you very much.
Sure, I appreciate the board's time. Thank you. Have a good
You
night.
bet. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, on to new business. Our first presentation is 9AR-1-20, 140 Canal View Drive, Pierpont VG, building awning. This is for the, is this University of Rochester? Yep. Is anybody here to present?
He's coming on right now.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Terry Zappia from Pierpont Visual Graphics. We're the sign company and awning company that will be basically hopefully making this awning. And Mike Zangi's here from the University of Rochester, and he can introduce himself as well.
Hi, Mike.
See here, I see
Yep.
him.
I had to unmute. Yeah, Mike Zangi, Deputy Director of Real Estate Services for the University of Rochester.
Hi, Mike. Welcome.
Thanks.
Why don't you guys tell us what you're planning to do and materials and if there's any lighting, etc.
Okay, we plan on putting an awning that extends out to the front that basically goes from the building to maybe a few feet from the actual driveway. And then Mike can explain exactly what it's used for, but we want to put up an awning so they can move supplies in and out for patients. And we also would put 2 bollards, so, you know, obviously to make it safe. So if somebody went up on the sidewalk, they wouldn't hit the awning. It's not illuminated. If I'm not mistaken, there might be an existing light that's there now.
Yeah, there's a wall pack.
That would be, and I think it would be under the awning, so it would be an
Correct.
existing light that's there. We wouldn't do any additional illumination at all. The material is a heavy-duty vinyl Ferrari material. It's called. It's a vinyl material, so it's very durable. Typically, what you would use for this application. Aluminum post. There would be also a shield, meaning if you're looking at the photograph, I don't know if you can see it on my computer, but there's a lower area that would be opaque, and then the side would be a clear acetate material, basically to you know, save patients and staff from getting wind, you know, extreme wind and wet if it's raining or really, really windy. So that would be the side that faces the west. Let's see. Any other questions you had?
How is it attached to the ground?
There would be a welded plate with 4 bolts that would go into and lagged into the ground.
So like a flange?
Yeah. Yep.
And what's this facility for?
I could speak to that. This is a cardiology vascular clinic.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so we have patients coming who have heart conditions. And with the rise of COVID, they started a process of delivering meds directly to the patient's cars to
That's what I thought.
minimize the you know, contact time with patients. And between,
Yeah, I thought that's what you were putting. I thought maybe you were going out to test people undercover.
yeah, no, this is to deliver meds. It keeps this highly vulnerable population from mingling with other patients while they pick up their medications.
There's
Thank
not
you.
much traffic going in and out of the building there.
No, almost
Okay.
none.
So, because I was going to ask the question of do you have enough width on that?
Yeah. Yeah, the main entrance to the clinic is on the north side of the building.
Okay. And what's the overall height on that, Terry?
Let's see.
I guess that would be my question. Is it the animation that I'm looking at that seems so tall, or is it actually going to be that height?
Yeah. Let me see if do you have? Let's see. Yeah, there it
There
is
you go.
there. I can scale this, but my gut feeling is I mean, I'd have to scale it, but it's probably
12 and a half or so?
yeah
Okay.
in height.
It says right now it's 10
Looks like
foot
13.
6 tall to the feet and
It's-
5 feet wide.
It's got to be 13 feet because that opening's got to be 3 feet. If the bottom's 4, you got to get up to
Okay.
almost 7 feet of opening, and then you got another 4, and then you got another 2. So it looks like 13 feet to me.
Okay. Anyone have any other questions?
Is this a permanent installation?
Yes.
Fran, do you have any questions?
No.
Casey?
Oh, it's pretty straightforward. Thank you.
Brian?
Is this also tied back to the building, or is it
Yeah,
strictly?
Yeah, it would be
Okay.
anchored into the building, into that whole upper area. And that's a building that's brick. It's not an ephes foam or anything.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. If there's no other questions, we can
Hey,
move
Stuart.
on. You guys can. Yes.
Hi, it's Chris.
Hey, Chris. Oh, sorry, Chris. Sorry. Do you have any questions? Go ahead.
Nothing that is going to influence how I react to this. Just a thought about: is there any thought about continuing the transparent and the lower part of this awning so that it closes off the gap between the awning and the actual doorway? Because it's pushed out from the soffit, and if the plan is to protect from wind, I think you've got a little pocket there that wind's going to really try to howl through.
That's
yeah,
a
I
good.
see what you're saying. Let me pull this up and look at it real quick.
And Chris, it opens it to the door swing. It's not like the door will close that gap. It will actually.
Yeah, correct. Yep. I mean, there's a small recessed area. I'm just trying to see what that recessed area is. See if I have it on.
The biggest concern for the staff is rain. You know, it is
Yeah.
a block at the same time, but they don't want to be caught out at the curb waiting for a car and then, you know, be out in the rain.
Yeah,
It
there
was
is just a small gap that maybe probably the swing of the door, basically.
Yeah, I don't know. It just jumped out at me, and it may be unintended, but when you put this solid thing out there, if the wind is driving out of the west, it's going to try to find a pathway around it. So it may be kind of whipping past that door in an unintended way.
Mhm.
Just something to keep in mind. But other than that, I don't have any comments or concerns.
Yeah, I think that was a good suggestion, observation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be a vulnerable spot.
So if we have no more questions or comments, Barry and Mike, you guys can call Jeff's office in the morning. And get
Okay.
Our answer.
Stuart, can I ask a question? The agenda had sign variance on.
Hey, do
your
you want
agenda.
to cover the sign so we can?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds
be
like
great.
Is that all right with everybody?
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay,
it's the only sign.
Thanks.
appreciate it. Okay. That's your standard logo?
Yes.
Okay. I think we've approved that all over town, so I don't think we have any problems with it.
Yep.
And Fran, you okay with it?
I am, thank you.
Mary?
Yes, thank you.
Chris?
What's the variance? Is it because it doesn't, what's the variance?
Jeff, is there a variance on this?
There's an area variance for the awning going into the front setback.
Okay,
There's not one for the sign itself.
Got it. Okay. Yep. No questions.
Brian?
Yep, looks good.
Casey?
Legible and simple. It's good.
And Andrew?
I'm fine with it.
Okay, great. So I didn't forget anybody, did I? All right, so you guys, I'm okay with it. Mike and Terry, you can call Jeff's office in the morning and get our answer.
Okay,
Appreciate it. Thank you.
sounds good. Thank you.
You bet.
Yep, bye-bye.
Next on our agenda is 9 AR-2-20, 719 Edgewood Avenue. Dave Ewell replacing a window with a door. Is Dave here?
He's here. I'm just letting him in.
Okay. Hi, Dave. Welcome.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell us what you're planning to do here?
We have an existing casement window on the front of our breezeway.
Yep.
And what we're proposing to do is to replace the casement window with a masonite fiberglass French door unit. And on the outside of the French doors will be 2 storm doors that are Anderson. And in the front of the breezeway will be professionally constructed a 8-foot by 10-foot deck, approximately 13 inches above the ground. No railings, so it'll stay just 13 inches above the ground. The deck will be pressure treated lumber, and the deck surface will be a slate gray ASICS material.
Jeff, can you take us through some of the photos?
That's the existing casement window.
That brick, is that a chimney that
That's a chimney, yes.
forms an alcove around the left?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So the deck is going to come out, but it's not going to get any wider when it passes. I mean, obviously it's the driveway's right there and the chimney's there, so it's just coming straight out, right?
Yes, it will be.
Because you're just back a few feet from the garage. Oh, I see. I couldn't figure out where your front door was. Your existing, because the drawing didn't show it because it's perpendicular to the facade.
We want to create a second opening into the home, a type of mudroom type of thing, just so people don't, in the bad weather, don't have to come in through the front door.
Yeah. So is your deck is? I have a couple questions. One is the height of the door, and the second is the deck. Is that at the threshold elevation or lower?
It would be at the threshold, and
Okay.
the existing window is 72 inches wide, and the tops of the windows are 80 inches. So the French door unit would be the same width and the same height. That would just obviously go down to the slab.
Okay. Is it lined up with the window in the slider in the back or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Vertically?
Yes, it is, or will be.
Thank you.
Fran, do you have any questions?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Brian?
No, I don't think so.
Casey?
Nope, nothing. Looks good.
Chris?
The shutters are going away, right?
The shutters are going away, yes.
Got it. Okay. No other questions.
Andrew?
I guess, Jeff, if you could scroll back to a photo showing an enlargement of that window area. Right, that's good right there. So just out of curiosity, I'm looking in the bottom right-hand corner behind where your gutter system is, and there seems to be a concrete block there. Is that
Yes.
going to be disturbed, or is that something that will remain? And is that an impediment to doing what it is you're looking to do?
I'm not sure what the answer is to that. I will have to check with the contractor that's going to be installing the deck. But obviously, if it needs to come out, then it'll come out.
Is your deck gonna be, is your deck gonna go behind the chimney when it's close to the house?
No, it's not, no.
So that's just gonna be a void?
That'll be a void, and we'll probably put some plantings in there, just so, to close up that void.
Is there a hose bib back there?
There's a whole hose bib back there, yes, there is.
Yeah, I guess my only other commentary is I don't have an issue with switching out the window for a door. Just you may want to make sure that your contractor is aware of the grading in that area to make sure that you're not trapping any moisture up against your foundation. It looks wet in that back area. I don't know whether or not that's from a hose bib leak or utilization of the hose, but you want to make sure that proper drainage exists from that back corner towards your driveway. Because you'll never be able to dry that out once you have a deck over the top of it.
Right, I understand, yes.
I have no other questions.
Okay, and I don't have any questions. I think the presentation looked okay. Dave, you can call Jeff's office in the morning and get our answer. So,
Okay, thank you.
yep, I appreciate you presenting tonight. Thank you. Next on our agenda is 9AR-3-20257 Dunroven Lane. David M. Burrows, alumnus. Edition. Hi, David.
Hello, I just unmuted. How's everybody tonight?
Everyone is good.
Hi.
Good.
So David, why don't you walk us through your presentation?
Yes. It might help to see the photographs, which are the last page, P1. So those are the existing views. It's a fairly deep front yard. This is all R1, so 60-foot front setback, which we will be getting a variance on to build this porch. And the front of the house, the owner feels, is, you know, a little monotonous and asymmetrical. So they want to put a front porch on. Also, because the backyard, there is no opportunity to build a porch. There's just no decent wall upon which to construct a porch. So they wanted to build a porch that would start at the left corner of the main part of the house, cover the front door. And I designed one that did that and provided cover and hopefully a roof and the general form to help the balance and to give it some sense of entrance. So there you see the elevations from the front and from each side.
David, what's the floor made of on this? Is it going to be a wood deck or is it concrete or?
No, it's going to be, let's see, composite decking over wood floor framing. It says that on south elevation. So there's no intention of there ever making it, you know, four-season room. It'll always be open or screened.
Yeah.
So it'll drain through.
Okay. And then we'll have downspouts. And how about the ceiling? Is that going to be finished on the inside?
Yeah, just vinyl, you know, beadboard soffit.
Okay.
It'll all be, you know, it's a vinyl sided house. Likely everything is going to be AZEK or vinyl.
So I have a question.
Sure.
So you're taking away the front door from the street view, putting it on the side and screening that front off, and then you have a framing of where the old front door was. So I was just trying to understand
No,
what you gain from the pediment and the framing. It kind of throwing me off about where the main entrance to the house.
no, the gable is still centered on the front door. The front door is not moving.
So the front door is there, but it's behind the curtain, so to speak.
Yes, but it's still visible. And it's still, you know, the main entrance of the house.
Okay, but you come in from the side, and then I suppose that it's deep enough. It's 12 feet, right? Deep?
Right, you come in from the side anyway. That's where the sidewalk is. We're not really changing the path.
Okay. Thank you.
David, a real quick
Okay,
question.
sure.
Are you,
Yes.
your screens, are they individual panels? So if someone wanted to remove this and have an open porch, they could?
Yeah, I encourage that too. They are going to be removable. They will build this, and it's their option whether they want to screen it or not.
Yeah. And then one last comment, and it's more visual than anything else. It's the way the screen wall and the roof line meet the house. I know that there's sort of an overhang.
Right.
And,
Yeah, it's Garrison Colonial.
And that visually kind of throws me off. So I'm wondering if there's a way to treat that so that it's
Well,
doesn't
you know
look
what?
like
I
it's
didn't
a
show. Sorry, Stuart, to interrupt, but there is a line. I don't know if I can see it on the photographs, but there is a line on the house now that's wider than the siding itself. It's like a freeze board.
Yeah.
So this new freeze board lines up with it. I don't have a photograph of it open yet, but
from the
that's why I
top to the
recall.
bottom, right? From your upper level
It's just
to the lower.
it's a horizontal board that would line up with the one on the porch.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking more at the
I hope I'm
vertical.
right.
Vertical.
Oh yeah, but the only place that really exists is at the front door. But I guess what would look better is if we did add a freeze board on the house that lined up with that of the porch. I'm not sure if that would help or not, but it would at least.
Or would it be the other way around? Line up one on
I know
the
what you
porch
mean.
that would line up with the house. It looks like you have boxes stacked that are shifting.
Yeah, I almost think if you could get the frame structure to line up to fill that under that overhang and not have the screen go under the overhang at all, it would look a lot cleaner on this from the side views. If there's a way
I
to.
see. Oh, all right. I see what you're pointing to now. Oh, well, that's just like an engaged pilaster. It's just a half column against the house.
Yeah.
Which is what you'd see on a porch anyway. You know, you split a column in half.
You know, maybe it's just the drawing I'm looking at that's throwing me off.
Yeah,
Let's
I
see.
think it'll detail well. And that, you know, I haven't gone into any detail yet. I wanted to get past this first.
That's all I have. Brian, you have anything?
No, I'm all set.
Casey?
No, I think the only thing I struggle with is the screen.
I agree.
Mary alluded to it, and it's just like you've lost the front door. I think if this was an open porch and that, you know, you've got your roof centered over your front door, and if you had steps right there and your sidewalk went up to it, then it totally makes sense and it really improves the front of the house and, you know, deals with that weird asymmetry that you already have. But then the screen, it's just odd to have a screened in porch on the front of your house.
Well, it's not that odd. I thought about that too, and I've seen a lot more screen porches than I realized existed since doing this. In fact, my own house in Madison, Wisconsin was like that.
Right.
You go in the screen in the front porch.
Yeah, a lot of some of the older city houses have it, but again, you still enter it. I think part of it has to do with the flow. If the screen door and the steps were facing the front of the house, it might make more sense.
Okay. So I partially agree, but again, the path doesn't change. The sidewalks and the porch the steps and the porch just replace the sidewalk that's there now. So your direction isn't changed, but you don't see the front door as well as you do now. I guess I would say we'll do what we can to make the screens very transparent. Use a mesh that's very, transparent as opposed to opaque. So I can encourage the owner to get the best screen that they can to make it as transparent as possible.
Okay.
And
I
they
was
will be removable.
gonna say real quick, I have a neighbor that actually has this set up. They put the screens up in the summer and they take them down in the winter, and the screens really aren't as noticeable as you think they are. But it's almost a mirror image of what I'm looking at here. They've got a very similar setup with a side door and then another door next to it with almost this exact same setup. But the screen is not very noticeable. The drawing's a little deceiving in that respect. You don't really notice the screen.
Thanks, Brian. Brian, do you have anything?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Andrew?
Yeah, no, I kind of echo what Casey was saying about the screens. And I know that in my past experience, utilizing a metal screen is much less evident than using any of the black plastic style screens. And I would urge the owner to do that, just to find a screen that is very light in coloration so you do not see it.
Okay.
But
thanks,
is there,
Andrew.
David, as Brian was suggesting, do you think there is an opportunity that the screens could be removable? Is that a possibility?
Yes. Yeah. In fact, they're built that they will be installed after everything else is up. But I can emphasize that they can be, dismountable and small enough that they could easily be removed and stored in their garage.
Right.
Okay. Chris, do you have anything?
I know there's a lot of screen porches. There's some very nice ones in my neighborhood. The painted wood actually looks great and you can see the door through it. But I don't understand why the door wouldn't be facing forward for a couple of reasons. Number one, that's where the attention on this facade is drawn through the use of the gable. And until I looked really closely, the dash lines of the former steps looked like new steps. And I thought, hey, great, this makes total sense. Without a door there, I don't think it makes sense. And just from a flow standpoint, if you're going to do a screen porch, you're going to want someplace to sit.
Yeah.
And so if the door were here, well, you can't see where I'm pointing. If the door were centered in the gable that faces forward, off to the left could be the spot for your wicker furniture or whatever you want to put out there. That's the space. And then you flow to the entrance through the front door, and you rework the walkway or whatever accordingly. But as drawn, I kind of have an issue with that's not where the entrance to the home is.
I agree with that. The whole thing becomes a corridor, because once you have people walking through it the long way, you kind of break up any gathering space.
Yeah, and you can have a door that swings out in both places and actually not have those conflicts, which would work. I would almost do two doors, one in the center front and one on the rear proposed.
Well, at least a door to the front. And then
yeah,
however they want to set it up, they set it up. But with no door to the front, the whole idea of the pediment and the gable and so forth doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
well, especially if the screen's going to be removed as well.
Yeah, probably more so with the screen off. Then you wonder where the stair went.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I'm seeing here.
That's a good suggestion. And Dave, the only other question I would have is, are there going to be gutters and downspouts?
Yes, there are. The only place you'll need one is where the shed roof faces forward and along the side of the gable. And they'll both go to grade as they do now.
Okay. Make sure you have positive drainage and
yeah.
Goes away.
I'm realizing we didn't really give David a chance to respond on the door issue.
I'll just take it, I'll pass it on to the owner.
Okay.
Yeah, I love the door idea. That does, if it went that direction though, that does definitely increase the scope of the project. Because I think right now, if you look at the plan view, they're trying to avoid having to do any sidewalk work.
Correct. And it's a longer route. They'll have to walk 12 feet towards the street and then another, well, you can see, thanks for bringing up the site plan. Right now, the path would have to go around the porch and to the front. I agree, formally, it would look better, but just knowing this client, I think that they prefer the more direct path. Although I agree, and I did talk to them about the fact that they've got to think about furniture placement. They will have to walk through their room to get to the door. But I do want to suggest to them to put the door on the front under the gable and re-landscape it so the path goes around the front. It might be a lot more interesting. If it were my house or some other client's house, I think they would go along with it, but I have a feeling they'll resist, that's all.
But,
Well,
you know,
I mean-
David, you could do a very simple, you know, regular stepping stone path that announces it's secondary, but it functions as a
Right.
path that leads you to the front.
And the front would, I agree, would look better if the door were under the gable. It's just that's not what I was asked to design.
And I would argue that if there's no door there, there ought not be a gable either.
Well, that's what I was trying to get at the beginning. What's the point of the gable if you don't need it for the interior height or something like that?
Right, it would make more sense if there weren't screens and if there were steps.
Right. The good thing about the gable being there though, is that that starts to fill in the void that made
Right.
the current front elevation, you know, lacking.
Yeah, that's the purpose of the gable.
Yeah.
And to remind you the door is there.
They probably use the door in the breezeway all the time anyway, right?
Yeah, it's closest to the driveway.
So,
So why are they worried about the extra length then, right? I mean, if they've got to walk a little further, but they're never going to do it anyway, then that argument doesn't hold up.
right,
They'll use it.
just
So
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, so the sidewalk will just be for decoration. Won't be used as much as it would be for symbolism.
Yeah, so then, yeah, I won't speak for the board, but I think I'm gonna, well, we'll hold that till deliberation.
Well, and I think that's
Okay.
where Stuart's suggestion of, you know, 2 doors could be perfect. They can still use a side door and set up their furniture however, but then architecturally it makes sense from the front.
Yeah, and if your door swing is out, you're not encroaching on any interior space.
Well, if it swings out, then you need a landing.
Well, I mean, your screen doors usually do swing out.
Mine don't.
I hope your screen doors don't swing into your house.
But my screen door porch swings in.
In this case, I would have them swing in so that you can avoid the landing. There isn't really much room between the vertical sidewalk and the horizontal sidewalk to install a landing because you have to go up 2 steps. So swinging in is the simplest way. Yes, it infringes on the interior space. But if we did it over the front,
What's happening on your existing door now? Not on the front, but in the breezeway. Is there a storm door that swings out there? Yeah, they have a screen door there.
I don't think there is a screen door, is there?
It looks like there's a
storm.
kick plate.
There's a storm.
No, there's no storm door. I'm looking at a photograph of it. I don't see a storm door on the breezeway door.
Yeah, no, there isn't. I got zoomed
There
in.
isn't. Yeah,
Okay.
there isn't. Thanks.
No, I thought you meant the front door.
The front door, definitely there is. And it swings out over the landing. I mean, I guess you could do that, but it's a landing.
But you know,
So
the other
you'd have to construct
the
a
other
landing.
thing, David. The other thing, David, for this, and you know, I'm not here to create a hardship, but these aren't huge asks for the size of the project you're doing. You know, to ask for a landing or to ask for a screen door in the front. So prohibitive that it's going to throw the budget out. think it's just a
Right.
matter of asking for it.
Yeah.
And
So
then,
again,
you know, you're protecting your work, you're protecting their investment, resale of the house. It's not clunky. I don't think what Chris was saying is really a hard ask, and
right. And you know, if this were anybody else's project, I think they'd go along with it. I have a feeling I'll just get some pushback, but I'll present it anyway.
how tough you are, you can do it.
All right, I can do it.
You're the bad guys. You're just the messenger.
I'll make you the bad guys. Yeah, they made me do this.
Give them Mary's number. She'll take care of
I think I'll start with Chris.
them.
Start with me. Mary will make you paint the door red.
Well, yeah, I like the other doors are red.
Well, I think the architectural profession has to address this issue of the vestigial front door on the suburban home and what it means for facade composition.
Oh boy, that sounds like for a topic of over a beer at Sheffield.
Yeah. Let's go after.
Any more questions? Andrew, did I ask you for any comments?
No. Okay. Nope, I like all the commentary that I'm hearing. I don't have anything further to add.
So, David, if you want to call Jeff's office in the morning and get our answer, would be
Okay.
great. And good to see you, and appreciate you presenting tonight. Thank you.
Okay, I'll see you all next month.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Next on our agenda is 9 AR-4-20, 69 Rock Hill Road, Loyal 9 Development. It's a rebuild of a house. Anybody here to present?
They are here. 1 second.
Greedy, but I'll be presenting today.
Okay, that's Michael Cromer.
Hi guys, thank you.
Hi. Why don't you run us through your project here?
Okay, so as you know, this house had some fire damage, and the idea here is to completely demolish it. We're going to salvage the entire foundation and rebuild in the existing footprint with a couple of exceptions. We're going to pull the garage forward a little bit just so we can articulate that surface a little. And then there's a need for a main floor bedroom suite, possibly for a family member who has ambulatory issues. This is a split level home, so the stairs are an issue here, both up and down, all the bedrooms. So, but our intention is to sort of build on the existing footprint in a very similar style of architecture to the house that's there.
Can you run us through materials and light fixtures, etc.?
Well, the house, we're going to be utilizing some vinyl siding. There's lap shown and some vinyl shake. There's some synthetic stone on the lower portion of the left side of the house, which in its current configuration is a brick veneer. But we're going to change that to a synthetic stone. The windows are going to be clad Anderson vinyl, and the shingle is going to be an asphalt shingle in a dark charcoal color. The light fixtures, you know, we have light fixtures on either side of all of the doors. The exact style of those, I don't have information on at this time, but we are planning to have wall-mounted light fixtures on either side of the exterior doors.
Okay. And your color selections besides the charcoal. You have a color for your siding?
There's an all side vinyl where it's harbor blue. Yeah, there you go. And we're
anyone, I'm sorry, anyone have any questions?
Do we have a physical sample of the harbor blue at the town hall, Jeff?
I do not have one.
I can drop off a physical sample. I was told that a picture sheet would suffice.
It would. I just want to see if is it that bright of a blue? Is that a pretty close representation?
It's more of the color of the photo than it is it must have been scanned in, so it's a little bit less quality there.
Yeah, I agree. The image that I printed here looks nothing like what you showed. It's not as bright a blue. It's more of a grayish blue. It's not that bright blue that you showed, but you know, again, I don't know how the image works when you scan it.
I have a question about the white garage door and the lack of windows in the garage door. Have you considered any other alternatives?
Yeah, we considered some windows in the overhead door, you know, just for the security issue. I think the homeowner has elected to not have windows, but we would be open to the board's suggestions there.
So what is behind the garage there at the very end of the garage? The
Okay,
bedroom, or is it?
Right, well, that continuation of that, sort of that roof line there, that becomes sort of a main floor bedroom suite with a bath, such that we can get ambulatory accessibility to it.
Yeah. So one recommendation I would put is that garage wall and that flex room wall is pretty massive. I would probably like to see some windows in that guest room on the
sidewall.
Yeah, yeah. And possibly balance it in the garage as well.
So it's proximity to the neighbor's property. Would the board consider maybe a couple of transom windows up high for privacy, but yet still have some way to articulate that surface and not have it be so long?
Well,
Can we see the
Stuart,
side elevation?
I'm sorry, Chris?
Stuart, I was looking at street view here and just kind of looking at the houses up and down the street. And what they're showing is really consistent with the style that's there. And the neighbors there to the right are pretty close, and they've got windows, a couple of windows looking out. I think you could get into a situation inadvertently where you're looking right into the neighbor's house. So, and I was going to mention too to Mary with the comment on the windows, it's like every garage door in this neighborhood within spitting distance is a solid door. So I think just, you know, keeping in mind the context of the other houses that are around, and even comparing what's on paper here versus what was there before from a mass and volume standpoint is very, very similar. I think there are some improvements in the choice of materials and some of the just the sizes and alignment of windows. I think overall it's a step forward. So I don't know that I would get too excited about the lack of windows on the garage side. It doesn't really differ
nothing
from the neighbor.
It's nothing out of the ordinary that we asked for, and you know, it gives cross ventilation within a room, so that's looking at. And it's not like it's functioning for the bed. The bed is positioned in the room to work. That's just my input. But thanks, Chris. Brian, do you have any comments on this?
Nope.
Casey?
No, I'm good.
No, I am good with it.
Mary?
Which I already said, thank you.
Okay, Fran?
I'm good with it. Thank you.
Andrew?
I'm good with this. Thank you.
Chris, anything else?
Nope, nothing further.
Okay, I think that covers everything in the presentation.
Okay, I'd just like to thank the board for making it work electronically. It's great that you guys are able to make this work. Thank you for your time.
Oh, you bet. Thanks for the presentation tonight. You guys can call Jeff's office in the morning and get our answer. So have a great evening.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is 9AR-5-20, 70 Sonora Parkway, Brosley, open covered port. Is Jim with us? Jim, you want to unmute?
Am I on?
Yep, welcome.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Good,
I'm here
thank
to
you.
talk. Jeff Rich, if you could please put the existing photo up on the screen for everyone to see. I'm here to talk about 70 Sonora Parkway. It's a cute little small cottage style house. The only problem with the house is there's no covered front entry. So I'm here today to request a covered front entry. It's going to be about 7'6" wide and only about 4'6" deep to keep in scale with the house. Jeff, if you could go to the next drawing after that one. The slope of the roof will be the same as the house. It's going to have 2 square posts and 2 pilasters against the house that are only 4 inches deep. I thought we would try to keep in scale with the existing small house, and this will allow the homeowner's guests to have a covered roof when they knock on the door, and it'll make it easier to shovel the front walk in the winter. Relatively simple design, but I think it'll be a great asset to the house and it looks well. Do you have any questions?
I do.
Oh, Mary.
Given the space between the top of the door frame and the barrel of the underbelly of the roof, I wonder if that could come down so that the peak clears that upper window.
So that the peak is lower than the bottom of the upper window?
Well, yeah, or at least meets it, but it's impinging, it's entering into the space of that window for me. And I don't understand. I mean, I see that you want to have the roof line parallel and you want it to start where the siding changes. I just don't know if you considered, lowering that roof so that the window has a little more air around it on the top. I think it might
And
make
Mary, if I could tag on to yours, one of the things I was noticing is that the line of the lower siding inside the barrel then extends up higher than the transition from the vertical to the horizontal and the little scalloped pieces.
Yeah.
Plus there's a little, the vertical board and batten on the left side of the gable between the new porch roof and the existing is really narrow. And I was kind of scratching my head, like, what could we do differently about it to resolve those conditions? And so when you suggested lowering the roof, I think that could play in well towards alleviating those concerns as well.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that as long as we could still have 7 foot clear. I believe I've got 8 foot clear right now, maybe a little bit more because there is a step down onto the new porch floor. And as long as we could maintain 7 foot clear, that's a condition I'm sure that the homeowner would be willing to do. And I'd be willing to have that as a condition of approval if that's what you want, no problem.
Jim, how is your existing porch? I mean, are you building a new base, or is that going to be put onto the existing porch?
The existing porch not in good condition. It's very difficult to shovel the snow in the wintertime, so that will be completely removed. There'll be a new concrete porch poured and another step. She's also going to tear out her existing sidewalk, which is 3 feet wide, and put in a new sidewalk in the exact same location.
Now, how about in the barrel there?
I'm sorry, what's your question?
Your ceiling portion of your
oh, the barrel?
Yeah, what's going on the inside? Is that a finished ceiling?
Yes, it's going to be beadboard wood. Everything will be white.
Okay. And any light fixtures hanging or anything?
Yes, she wants a small light fixture, not a large one, but there will be a light fixture hanging, yes.
Okay.
There is a light fixture on the side of the front door right now, and that will be removed, and then a new one overhead.
Okay. I'm going to go right down the line here. Fran, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Casey?
No, I agree with everything that Chris and Mary already brought up. So thank you both.
Okay, Chris and Mary, I assume your comments are through?
Yep.
Well, the only The only thing with the hanging light fixture then is obviously we'll want to watch the size and height of that, and hopefully there should still be room to do that. But
Yeah.
Yes.
Andrew?
Yeah, no, I think the suggestions that Chris and Mary gave were good. Otherwise, I don't have any issues with this.
The only thing that we haven't talked about was water collection. Are you going to have downspouts and troughs, or is it going to be?
No, because it's such a small roof area and there is garden on both sides of the house, we're not planning on any gutters and downspouts. I'm sure we'd be happy to put some in if you require that, but our preference is no.
Make sure you have positive drainage and nothing is going to disrupt the base of that new porch.
Yes. Jeff Frisch, if you could go back to the existing conditions photo, you can see the garden she's got on. And she takes care of it very well.
Okay. Any other questions from any members of the committee here?
I guess my only comment would be just be wary. Even though it's a small roof area, snow is going to collect and come off in sheets, and any plantings underneath that roof can be damaged by roof fall or a snowfall. And just that water coming off of a roof in that nature will create that line on the ground. So any plant that's directly underneath that roof will be affected. Just a note for the homeowner, Jim.
I understand, Andrew, and I'll make sure she knows that. Just to clarify, so that I can tell the homeowner after this meeting, if we do lower that roof, it would just be dropped down exactly as is, so that there's more of the vertical siding showing on the left. It's farther from the window on the right, and we'll bring down the top of that curved barrel so that it lines up with the bottom of the vertical siding to keep us at about 7 foot clear.
And then keep your scallop trim going across your vertical trim.
That would be fine.
All right, you can call Jeff's office in the morning and get our answer, and we appreciate you presenting tonight, Jim.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Next and final on our agenda tonight is 9AR-6-20, 110 Oak Lane, Burge Osman, is that right? Attached garage addition. I hope I didn't bastardize you.
Nope. Serge Svosman. I'm an employee at DesignWorks Architecture, but this is my home that I'm presenting today. So this is sort of our dream, is to add a 2-car garage to a 1-car. So long and short is this house originally had a 1-car garage. Somebody added on a 1-car garage in the 50s and turned that 1-car garage into a mudroom. So it looked like a two-car garage, but it was a 1-car garage, and we really need a 2-car garage. This is a really hard spot to pull into, and especially today with 2 little kids, there's no room in there, even if we wanted to pull in. So we were going to reclaim part of that as mudroom space and part of it as some garage space too.
How about materials? Everything gonna match?
Yeah, everything's gonna match. It's hard to get an egressable window the size of the existing steel windows, so we're gonna put in some French casements for future fit out down the road.
Do you have a site plan or a floor plan?
Yeah, there should be a site plan, existing and proposed.
Got it. Okay, yeah, that looked like that was kind of kink in there, and I wasn't clear on what the angle was.
Yeah, so it's aligned to the property line, which is sort of not really aligned to the highway wall.
So your existing garage, is that still gonna have a garage door under that dormer?
So under the dormer is our main entry right now. I think you
Okay.
probably see it in the picture,
Yep.
right there.
All right.
Yep. So there used to be a fake door panel there, which was replaced with a door with side lights. So now there's natural light into that space where there was none before.
So on your existing house, I see 3 different light fixtures. You gonna have uniform light fixtures through your new addition?
I'd like to continue the fixture that's by the mudroom door. Yeah, and I presented the spec. I think that's somewhere. Jeff has that spec for that fixture, but I'd like to use that on the addition.
Any changes to your roof materials?
No.
I'm gonna go down the line. Fran, do you have anything?
No, I don't.
Casey?
Yes. Can you just explain, are you also changing the, so you've got a bay window in the drawing that's shown there, which does not exist currently, and then there's also a small shed roof over your side door that's not showing up. Is that also part of these changes?
The shed roof is existing. That's our upstairs bathroom.
No, but
I'm
this
sorry.
is in this drawing, I'm saying.
Yes, so the bow window for the kitchen is something we'd like to add as well.
Okay, and then to the right of that, where the current shed roof is over your side door, that is coming.
We'd like to take that off, yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing I just wanted to clarify, the higher new garage roof shown on the left, is that the same height as far as the roof peak with your current, or is it taller?
Same pitch, everything is dropped 2 feet. So the plate height is 2 feet lower. You can see it in this elevation here, and you can also see it in the 3D view where the eave connects is below the existing overhang. So we're trying to control the scale of this thing, which is hard to do with a 14/12 pitch.
Right.
But I don't really want a tower in my driveway, but I don't think can't think of a better way to make this look homogeneous.
Right. So it is slightly taller probably than your existing roof line, but it's definitely still lower than your main house, from what I can tell.
Yes, lower than the main house. Is it lower than the existing garage? Is that the question?
No, I just want to know if it was the same height as the existing, or if it does kind of pop up a little higher.
I could tell you in just a minute here. Sorry. It is 9 inches taller.
Okay, negligible.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I had.
Andrew?
Yeah, so Jeff, could you go to the site plan, please? So, Serge, I need to voice my concern, if you will, about the ability to get in and out of this garage with a vehicle.
Yeah.
How are you intending on being able to pull a vehicle in and then turn it around? I don't see that you have enough clearance to do so. So I'm concerned about the whole entire orientation of how this garage is fitting onto your existing home.
Right. So currently our garage is right here. So with another vehicle in the driveway, it's pretty impossible to pull this vehicle out. Several of the homes on our street have a similar situation, and we're pretty much used to backing out. I do occasionally, you know, K-turn to get out of our curtain driveway, and we park kind of below where the garage is today. So if I had a little extra room, I was pulling out of the garage, it would actually, it would be feasible.
Okay, I just want to make sure that, you know, I'm looking at it from this perspective, is you will not be able to turn a vehicle around very easily in that driveway. You will be
Right.
forced to back out around the edge of the house.
Yeah, and that's sort of our predicament. We can't move the house, and I can't really think of another orientation for the garage that would make it any easier for us.
Understood. I think everything else fits in. The style of the garage fits in with the existing home style. I don't have any issues with any of that. I just wanted to voice that concern, just to make sure we're all aware. That's all.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's sort of, it's tough. You know, the house is sited in such a way where we've got a bunch of constraints, and
Yeah, nope, understood.
Chris, do you
That's all
have any
I have.
comments, Chris?
The front entrance, the ceremonial front entrance to the house has kind of an interesting, let's use that word, feature. And the sketches didn't have it. Is that being reworked?
which our front door.
Not that one. The main, call it the main door, that door.
This one is not being touched.
Okay.
I'd be curious to know if this, I think it's like a federal style, but
Yeah.
it doesn't seem to be kind of the right era or style of our home, but
No.
somebody put that on there. And
I was tiptoeing into that because I wasn't sure if that maybe that had, you know,
I
it
think
had been
that's
your dream to have a Federalist entrance and you had retrofitted it and it was, you know, thumbing your nose at the neighbor you didn't like maybe, but okay.
I
But,
think
so
that's on my
staying,
long
one of the
list of
drawings.
things to take care
Sure.
of, but we need, a garage is priority number one.
Got it. Yep. No, I was just curious because the drawing showed that not there, and I was curious if that was really happening.
Yeah, it's a Revit model, and I didn't want to spend any more time.
Good
on
luck
existing
with that in
conditions.
Revit, right? Yeah.
With the broken pediment and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for another time. I don't know.
Mary, do you have anything, comment or questions or concerns?
Well, I've actually maneuvered out of that driveway myself, and it's a tough one, but I have a tough driveway too, and I think that, you know, that's kind of the situation. I wanted to ask about the garage door, if you had a cut sheet on that or something, and also, are you actually using real stucco on the new garage, or are you using?
Yeah, so it's an EFIS. It'll be you know, we'll have a continuous insulation on. I think they use a 1-inch insulation, and then they basically go over it with the stucco material. But we did that. We did some repair work, and it's hard. You can't really tell. The color matches, and you can't get the it's not as thick of a coating, so it's a little thinner. But I prefer that over the coarseness of the actual stucco that's on there now.
Yeah. And do you have a garage door selected?
I don't. I'd like to. I think the one that's there works pretty well. So I'd like to match that in probably a painted steel.
And it has windows?
Yeah, it has windows in the third row.
Yeah, I can't see that one. It's completely black on my screen.
So it's
That's all. That's all I have.
It's 4 panels tall. It's got
Oh yeah, I see.
glass in the bottom, in the top, in the third row.
So painted brown.
I think so, or whatever the trim color is of the house.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Brian, did you have any comments?
I think it's the west side, are we adding windows to the, are there any windows on that side, the garage?
No,
Okay. Are there any in the back?
there are two small windows in the back, but they're they're gonna face. It's more for ventilation than for anything else. There's no view that way. There's a 20,
And in that,
30-foot retaining wall.
in the proposed area, are you taking out trees to accommodate that?
Yeah, we'll have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any person doors in your garage? Is it in the back?
Yeah, so if you go to maybe the site plan, I can show you where that. There's a person door right at where the intersection is of the garage. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Right there,
Right in
there'll be
there.
a person door. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions or concerns from the committee? All good? Serge, you can call Jeff's office in the morning and get our answers. Appreciate you presenting tonight.
Yeah,
And,
thank you guys.
You bet. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Bye, Mary. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks.
So I think that's everything. Jeff, you want to go back to the agenda and we'll deliberate?
Yep.
I think we still have some people on. So,
Hi. Sorry. My name is Alexia Tassoriano. I'm just a student from RIT. I was asked by my professors to sit in on an architectural board meeting as a part of one of our assignments.
Sure.
So I actually have a couple of questions for you guys, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I am primarily interested in what it's kind of like to go through the deliberation process for these. I don't know if it's open or closed, but really just some insight into how everyone makes their decisions regarding. Very helpful.
You kind of broke up, at least on my end, a little bit, but on the deliberation end, all input from the presenters is done. They can't have any more say. They may be present during the deliberation, add any. Sometimes we've had them answer questions so that we understand it a little bit clearer, but what we usually do is discuss the positives, the negatives, and basically develop a forum on our votes. Majority wins.
Right. Well, thank you very much.
Anyone else have anything to add?
Yeah,
about
I
the process?
think you could explain what the different outcomes are, Stuart, and I wonder if she wants to listen, and if that's possible.
Yeah, that's possible. She can stay while we discuss.
I would love to. Thank you.
So approve, disapprove, or table, or establish conditions.
Or deny without prejudice. So I think they get two shots at it, basically. We can table it and they've got to come back and re-present. Then if they go from here, they go to the planning board, they might go to the conservation board, they may go to the ZBA. The other aspect of our role is we really don't have any legal weight for aesthetic branch of the planning board. We're consulting to the planning board. So technically, if someone doesn't agree with.
You're breaking up, Stuart.
any legal weight. We are a branch of the planning board and then board.
Advisory capacity only.
Yeah, go ahead. My internet's getting unstable here, so. Andrew, you have a comment?
No, I just said that we are advisory. We are an advisory board to the planning board.
Right.
Clarifying.
So Jeff, are you all set to deliberate?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay. So AR-3-2226 Norman Road, Jarrett and Julie Ann Bromberg. Additions to the house, including garage, upstairs, and bed and bath. Mary, you want to start?
I'm fine.
You're fine with it?
Yes, they added the windows. They didn't do the other things, but I think we'd be squeezing water out of a rock to ask for more.
Okay. Brian?
Yeah, I think the updates are fine.
Casey?
I agree. I mean, I think it's not perfect, but scaling down the garage door, lowering the roof and changing the pitch slightly and adding the windows, at least it's an improvement.
Chris?
And since I wasn't here originally, I just kind of, abstaining.
You don't have to abstain, but
I'll defer to the rest of the board for how they did or didn't follow through on what was asked last time. How about that?
Okay. Fran?
Yeah, it's better, but that's really all I can say about it.
Okay.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. No, it's fine. I still worry about how close it is to the adjacent house, but it's not really. I guess that'll be caught in planning board if it is a problem.
It went to zoning board.
And it was fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm okay as presented. So it sounds like everyone is fine with it. We'll
You didn't
approve
ask me.
Andrew, you were one of the first ones, weren't you?
Oh, no, I was making a comment on your previous comments because you were breaking up. I'm fine with it. I think I agree. It's not perfect, but the revisions made make it much better.
Okay. So we approve as presented.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, next on to new business. 9AR-1-20, 140 Canal View Drive, Pier Point VG, building awning. Casey?
I was fine with it. I did like the suggestions though about if they can enclose, get it closer to the actual storefront and door. That'd be a nice, nice addition.
Close out that gap there.
Yeah, if possible.
Brian?
Well, I'm not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of it because it's on the front of the building, not the back. Even though the true access point is on the back of the building, I understand it. I understand the need for it. It's fine, I guess, as is. I don't like the fact that it's on the front of the building. I think Andrew once said it's facing Henrietta, so it doesn't matter. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Mary?
I think it's fine.
Okay, Andrew?
I am not a fan of it at all. This is a temporary installation of something that is going to become permanent. And if it is permanent, it does not have any permanence whatsoever. It's like putting up something on your deck for the summertime. Yes, it is facing Brighton Henrietta Town Line Road. I understand that. However, it is facing a major thoroughfare. I'm not inclined to approve this. I think this is kind of it's a tack on. That's why I asked whether or not this was permanent or whether or not it was temporary. Temporary installation for a year or for 2 years or whenever COVID lets up, I'm fine with, but a permanent installation of this nature, in my opinion, sets a precedent that everybody else can do this, and I'm not in favor of that.
Thank you, Chris.
I have my own mixed feelings kind of along the same lines as Andrew and Brian. And it was really, you know, for me, it just came down to where this is and kind of thinking about, you know, does this really, is the, you know, does it have a negative effect? And I think part of it for me is just thinking about the functional aspect of this. And for me, that outweighs the potentially somewhat negative look of it. So, I mean, if I could check a box that says approve begrudgingly, that's what I would do. It's not a strong enough objection, though, just because of what it is, the type of building that it's on, and where it's located in Brighton. I'm fine with it.
Fran?
You know, I was just going to say real quick, isn't this similar to something else they did in Henrietta? There's another building they have that they're working on. Don't they have something like this? I can't think of the building.
They have a couple of things like this over on West Henrietta Road. We wouldn't know if there's something in Henrietta like this. But
I think these are like a lot of these tent structures are going up now because of COVID related issues. And I don't like it either, but I think it'll die a natural death.
As I say, in my head, I almost did picture it as a 2-year structure just because it's awning material. So while they said permanent, I don't see them actually keeping it up much more than 2 years after a couple winters.
Yeah.
I don't imagine it. Knowing U of R's real estate services, they're going to be moving around all the time. So, so Fran, do you have any comments?
I think, you know, considering everyone's really making good points, but I'm leaning to the function of it is going to help them. And I agree with the point that this isn't going to be there that long, you know. It just won't last. But I'm fine with it.
Yeah, and I'm okay with it as presented. I see it being temporary more than anything, and it was the structure guy who said it was the vendor who said it was going to be permanent.
I guess we have to vote.
Well, if I tally everything up, there's 2 no's and everything else is okay. So we'll vote. Casey?
I'm okay with it. Approve this.
Brian?
I'll begrudgingly approve it. That's fine.
Mary?
Yes.
Andrew?
I'm a no.
Chris?
Begrudgingly approve.
Fran?
Approve.
And I approve. So, as presented. Next is 9AR-2-20. 719 Edgewood Ave, Dave Ewell. Replacing a window with a door. I have a list here with everyone's name on it. I'm just going down it to get a yay or a nay. So, Casey?
Me.
Sorry?
You cut out.
Yes or no on Edgewood?
For me?
Yes. Casey.
I was like, I didn't hear. Are you talking to me?
Brian?
Yeah, it's fine.
Mary?
Yes.
Andrew?
I'm fine with this.
Chris?
I'm fine.
Fran?
Approve.
And I approve. So it's approved as presented.
Okay.
Next is 9AR-3-20 257 Dunroven Lane, David M. Burrows. Front porch edition. Casey?
I would want to add the need for doing a front door centered underneath the gable.
Okay. Brian?
I was actually fine with how he presented it. I didn't have any
Okay.
changes.
Mary?
Well, he's expecting to come back. He said, see you next month, unless he's got another project.
That's what I thought. Thank you, Matt.
You know, I don't like these front door situations. I think we're still floundering with solutions that are inadequate, but I don't think, it sounds like it would, I mean, I think spatially, I agree with the point that Chris brought up, that they're going to turn the whole thing into a corridor by having the door on the side. There should be something done to call attention to that front door, and maybe it's just the drawing that he made those screens so heavy looking graphically that it's hard to imagine. And look where he put the dividers for the screens. I mean, they're narrower than the front door in the front section, and then they come in, the lines come down in front of the windows. It's just not thought through, but I really don't know how I can say no to it. But if Casey's got that idea of, yeah, doing something to have the front entrance, I think that that's a fair condition. So that's what I would jump on that bandwagon.
So you're going to approve with conditions. Andrew? Thank you, Mary.
I would approve with conditions.
Okay. And what are you looking at? The front door?
I'm looking at the front door and having a door that faces directly out toward the street to make the front door more prominent. I guess that's the only condition that I would put on it, but then I would also put the suggestion in that the screens be removable, so that it can become an open porch.
And what about lining up the panels with the windows, things like that Mary suggests?
I'm fine with doing that as well, especially if it can become an open structure, then it makes much, much more sense.
Yeah. Are you all set?
I think so. That's all I have.
Thank you. Chris?
I would approve with the two conditions. One, that there be a front door, and the other that they be removable. However, I think it would be a mistake actually to align these screens with the window. I think having 3 equal screens on the screen itself makes sense. If they lined up with the window, I think it would throw off the expression of that. And having seen a lot of these within my neighborhood, the screen itself reads proud of the elevation behind. And there are a lot of cases where that isn't, on a line drawing like this, where those alignments aren't kept. And it's not an issue. I think it would be an issue if they weren't 3 equal panels on that left side. So I would not support that condition, actually.
I don't think I was understood properly. I just don't like that the lines come down the window. I wasn't suggesting that they be aligned with the window. I just was thinking that it wasn't thought through properly. So whatever that's worth. So I didn't want to make that a condition. I just said I didn't think that the design of was done properly.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that. It seems like it did evolve though to the condition that they aligned, and I don't know.
Yeah, that may have been my fault, but
Well, fair
So
enough, Stuart. You know, yeah, I think I was implying something like that, but I didn't. Stuart, you're cutting out.
To correct that, but we'll go. You're all breaking up.
You're breaking up.
You're the one breaking up. We're all here.
Yeah.
Why don't you reset your modem and try dialing in again?
That's funny, Chris. Good one.
I think we
Give me a
lost
minute. You all disappeared.
Nope, you disappeared from us.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
We're all here.
You gotta get green light.
Fran?
I'm good with approving with the condition of making the door facing the front, addressing that condition that was
Okay.
brought up.
I'm good with approving with conditions that the door and the screens being removable.
If we do go with that condition with the front, adding the front doors, should we specify steps also?
Good point. What an echo.
Yeah, right?
Wow.
That was like a special effect that my computer has.
Yeah.
You certainly put the exclamation point on that.
Mary's at a
Point, Casey.
No.
I would support that as well. I think without steps, the door looks ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do a pediment, you should have a door, you should have steps, right?
Yeah, otherwise I'll put a fast one on this.
Right. We probably cannot specify a sidewalk of any kind or path. It's not in our purview, but at least steps, and a future owner can take care of the rest.
I agree.
I'm fine with that.
Jeff, listen to us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
So add a front door under the gable portion of the roof that has steps down to grade, with steps down to grade.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
removable screens.
Yep, screens should be removable.
Excellent.
Love it.
Got it.
Are we good on that? 257 Dunroven,
Yes.
69 Rock Hill Road. Casey?
I was totally fine with this one. If people wanted to add any windows to the garage, I'd support it. But if they're at least doing a door with a light in it, that at least, you know, it breaks it up.
Brian?
Yeah, I agree with that. As long as they have a door with a window on the garage, I think that's fine.
Mary?
Yes, I'm fine with it as presented.
Andrew?
I am fine with it as presented.
Chris?
Approve as presented.
Fran?
Approve as presented.
And I am good with it as presented. My only comment is I prefer the slate blue to the bright blue.
I did look it up, and it's not horrible online. I don't know if anyone else did that,
No.
but it's a definitely,
Well,
it's a gray blue.
dead of winter, it will be bouncing all around. So, okay, so that's approved as presented.
Okay.
Next on is 9AR-5-20, 70 Sonora Parkway, Jim Brosley. Open covered porch.
He told us exactly what the conditions were
I know.
himself.
I was like, I hope Jeff wrote that down.
I know I was going to say that, but I thought it was inappropriate, Casey.
The only thing I'll say is the way he said it, he was going to align the top of the barrel with the bottom of the scalloping,
Yeah.
which may actually be a hair too low.
Yeah, you're
So
right. Good catch.
it may not have to come all the way down that far as long as there's a trim board. At that point, a trim board makes sense. But here, reading the clapboards going up higher than the scalloped board and batten doesn't work.
Right.
So I think we just want to tweak.
I'm wondering if that was an intention or just a lazy drawing.
Well, I mean,
How much clearance did he say he had? Did he say he said he had 8 feet clearance?
Yeah.
He was going to take it down to 7.
If you look at the photograph, though, it looks different. It looks like there's more room.
All I was suggesting is that we don't go so far as to say align the barrel with the scallops, because I think that would be forcing it lower than it needs to be, and maybe undesirably so.
I agree.
So if we just say change the clearance from 8 to 7, that's all he has to do?
I wouldn't even prescribe a dimension. I would just say it's got to be lower, or maybe say approximately 7. I don't want to be so prescriptive that it paints him into a corner and it turns out not quite what it needs to be. I mean, he seems like a pretty literal and rigid sort of fellow just by the way he presented.
Mm-hmm.
So making sure that we're communicating clearly that there is some latitude there to do what makes sense, but that it's too high and the clapboards extending higher than the scallops don't make sense.
So reduced height of the roof, so the barrel there's approximately 7-foot clearance under the barrel.
Well, my point was, excuse me, Jeff, that the peak be at no higher than the sill of the window in the pediment, but I don't know if that's possible. But as close to that as possible. Do you know what I'm saying? So the peak should be lower than that windowsill, or at least not higher than it. I don't know if other people feel the same way.
I don't know if that's going to be too low, though, Mary. That might get below his 7-foot clearance.
Well, that's what I'm saying, to get it down as low as possible. But I was just clarifying that when I made the comment originally, it was because so the peak would not be impinging on the horizontal band that the window resides in. But yes, I think it should just be lowered to the minimum height. We can solve it by just saying that. Minimum height and allow for a pendant lamp.
I'm fine with a commentary of that nature.
You preserve the scallop trim?
And then we preserve the line of the scallop trim all the way across the facade. Does that do it?
Sounds good.
Yeah, hold on.
But do we think we'd actually, I feel like it can't get that low that we would completely conceal the scallop trim.
Well, I don't want him to
30
cut it
seconds.
and put horizontal siding in there like he's got it drawn.
Right, so do we, I don't know if we want to, I mean, if you say to align up the scallop trim and then he can't do it, then what happens? I'm playing on the PDF right now.
I'm doing the same. Am I muted?
No, you're not.
Okay.
You guys have a scale drawing there. Get to work.
It's actually not to scale. I tried that.
Oh, so it's fake.
Shocking. It might be closer to half scale, but definitely not 3/8. I like getting everything in PDF. I think it'd be very close. I'm not sure you would actually completely clear the scallops. So maybe a trim board back there.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about here.
Are you trying to not have the horizontal siding under the gable?
Yes. I think we just can't, whatever the wording was with the scallops, I think we have to leave that out of it as far as the horizontal alignment.
So you can't say, you don't think we can say continue the bottom edge of scallop siding across
preserve
the
it.
entire facade?
Oh.
Or replace with a trim board?
Keep your vertical trim, your vertical siding.
Okay.
It's got to be built into it.
I have down continue scallop trim under gable. Does that work?
Yeah.
Or substitute with trim board if there's not enough space to do a reasonable.
Right.
Okay.
Because if it's 6 inches, it's going to be kind of ridiculous, but.
Right. Not to mention they may not be able to preserve enough of it once they actually bring the structure back.
Yeah, definitely.
So I have 2 conditions. One's reduce the height of the roof to the minimum height, allowing 7-foot clearance and hanging light. And then continue the scallop trim under the gable or substitute with a trim board.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Everyone good with that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Chris, you good with it?
Trying to get back to Zoom. Sorry, I don't know what's going on here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I can hear you guys. I can't see you. So, I'm good with that. Is anybody else worried though about how he's going to interpret it?
No, because I think he fully understood us before he left.
We understood him.
All right,
Andrew, you're good with everything?
You're muted.
Okay, shall we move on to the last one?
No, did you not hear me? I'm talking and you didn't hear me? All right, so now you can hear me. Now you can actually see me. I did not hear what Jeff said as the condition of approval. I got knocked off of Zoom.
Okay.
Could you repeat, Jeff?
Yep, I said approve with conditions, reduce the height of the roof to the minimum height to allow for 7-foot clearance and a hanging light, and continue scallop trim under the gable or substitute with trim board.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
All right. Shall we move on to the last one? Jeff, you're all set?
Yep. Thank you.
9AR-6-2110 Oak Lane. Serge Zvassman, attached garage addition. Attached garage addition. Casey?
I thought Brian brought it up at the end. I was surprised no one else did, that we all kind of missed it, about the windows on the side. I did look at the site, as the Google, I Google mapped it, and he's not really facing anyone, but we do always require that of other people. So it might be something we want to talk about. But other than that, I mean.
Did he say, I'm sorry, did he say he had windows in the back?
Yeah, he said he had 2 smaller windows in the back
The
for
back.
ventilation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
So I mean, being on a cul-de-sac, it's not like the neighbor's looking directly at
No,
this.
I've been there. There's no, it wouldn't really be a gain to put windows on the side of that garage that is closest to the neighbor, because it's pretty far away from the neighbor's house and there's vegetation and stuff between. Not that that's an exonerating element, but.
Right. Yeah. I don't know, it's still a really tall addition, but at the same time, I think once it's skewed, I'm not sure that I don't think you'll sense it as much as this view, where it looks like it's almost as tall as the house.
Yeah, the massing views that he presented, I thought it looked actually pretty cool. You know, it kind of fit in proportionally. So that view was right there in particular. So, and I appreciated that he had been deliberate about setting that top plate, and it seems to align kind of sort of with the mini entrance that's been overly adorned right there on the front. So yeah, I think it all works.
Everyone good?
Yeah, well, no, not yet. I still have major concerns about getting in and out of this driveway. And I realize that this is the hand that is dealt to him because of this site, but that is going to be very, very, very difficult. That being said, I want to make sure that what is getting approved is not all of that other stuff. So Jeff, I don't know if you kept a running log of what was being approved by us, because this bow window is part of the approval.
Mm-hmm. Bow window and the removal of the shed roof over that side door.
Okay. Do you have that in your notes, Jeff? Do you know what is being approved tonight?
I do, yeah. I wrote it down.
Okay. So with that being said, I mean, I still have an issue with just the orientation of everything, but I don't have an issue with the architecture. I don't think you need to put windows on the side of that garage, quite honestly. I think there's going to be enough natural light coming in from the garage doors themselves. So I'm fine with it.
Okay, Chris?
Yeah,
Brian,
I'm
you want to
fine
go
with it.
Okay.
I
Brian,
was
are you?
kind of sensitive
sorry.
to what Andrew was saying, though, about not fully appreciating the scope. I think we should be clear in our approval that we are approving the garage addition, the bay window, and the removal of the shed roof.
Is that what was in the application?
What was concerning to me as we started to unpack this, it's like, oh yeah, I'm doing that too. Oh yeah, I'm doing that too. We don't have any labels on any of these drawings, right? We've got some really nice three-dimensional sketches that convey the massing of it very well. But I was even trying just now to flip back. Maybe Jeff, could you flip back to the photographs? Yeah, so you know we're kind of seeing like, okay, the windows must be existing to remain, right? They're not modeled exactly like what's there, but I think that was the intent. So that's all I would suggest, to pick up on what Andrew was saying, that if they're going to do anything beyond that, they'll have to let us know.
What's on the application, Jeff? Were all those things listed on the application?
Garage addition and similar style. To match
Yeah,
the-
so he threw those in as extras.
Yeah. And we all got that it was a second floor addition also, right?
Yes.
Yeah, for future fit out.
Yeah.
Right. I don't really have an issue with that unless Jeff does, if they're trying to sneak one past us here, or sneak one past the tax man, as it were.
It's a bonus room, right?
Probably. As long as it's attached to the house, he doesn't have an issue.
Well, but he has to fill out the single family residential square footage form to make sure he doesn't overbuild on the lot.
Correct, yeah.
In my mind, it's like, I got to cut this guy a break because he backs up to a highway, you know?
Yeah. It's a bad
What you
situation.
gotta do, man. Block as much of that sound wall as you can.
Fran, are you good with it?
Yes, I am.
Mary, Brian, Casey, everyone's commented. I'm good with as presented.
Okay. I'll put a note in. I'll probably say the garage addition, the bay window addition, and the removal of the shed roof is approved as presented.
Perfect.
Okay.
And we have a clear understanding of materials, colors, etc.
Did he say he was putting just ephes on the garage, or was he going to put stucco over the ephes?
It's stuccoed ephes. It's a surface treatment that is meant to simulate stucco, which he's already used to patch an area in the past and said it works okay.
So it's like an ephes stucco instead of regular stucco.
Yeah, and then the garage doors are going to be painted wood to match the current garage doors.
Or steel. I think you've still done
Steel. I'm sorry.
Steel.
Painted steel to match the trim.
Existing color.
Okay. I'm good.
So we're all good for this month.
Yay.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see everyone in October.
All right.
Arrivederci.
Costumes, right?
What'd you say?
Hey, Jeff, we always wear costumes to the October meeting.
Everyone have a great month. Talk to you soon.
Well, I'll wear a mask. How's that?
Perfect.